Charlo, you sold us out. You said you did it for the culture. What culture? The track culture? You was running the whole fight. We seen it. And then you was looking scared.
He ran all fight.
And no shout out to Derrick James. Leaving you, bro. You better do something fast.
You got one more fighter to go out that way, and then
you all your big fights, pause. You going outside. That gym gonna be empty soon. You better do something fast. It's how 2 fighters lost. He trashed at this point. Nobody give a about that. Nigga. I don't know how you won Coach of the Year, Trainer of the Year, whatever the fuck he was.
Trainer of the Year.
That nigga, that garbage. So I'm looking at his face, and you can see what we seen on the instant replay. When the punches was coming his way in slow motion, he was scared. That nigga was
kept
scared.
Doing that. I was just like,
you went in for a check, my nigga, and you were embarrassing, and you sold this out. Now, come on, bro.
Charlo, can we get our $89 back?
Please. Because you got to think about how many $89 spent because he sold us a dream. Now, we know what you getting when Canelo come to the table.
Yeah.
Charlo lied. He got to get back 40 of the 89. Knocked down. You didn't even get knocked down. You took a knee. A nigga punched you.
That was a surrendering move.
Yeah.
To Earl. And he tried to diss Earl in the
All Access. He definitely tried to. He said Errol Spence was all tired. I ain't trying to be Errol Spence. I got more respect for Errol Spence than you.
Wow. Cameron and $MA absolutely go in on Jermell Charlo. They take some shots at Derrick James. They say, you're not the one, bro. That's what I want to talk about in this video. Killer Dipset Jim Jones. Cameron goes in on Derrick James and also Jermell Charlo. Says he respects Errol Spence, though. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, the clip I let you listen to at the beginning was from rapper / businessman / newly sports analyst Cameron on his show, his podcast with Mase and Betha. It is what it is. And he did not hold back on Jermell Charlo. He basically said Jermell Charlo cheated us all. Jermell Charlo sold us out. Jermell Charlo ran all night versus Canelo Alvarez. He said he was mad at Mase for dragging him to the fight. The fight did not live up to the expectation because of Jermell Charlo. So he had a lot to say, and he just went in. Mase chimed in and said, basically, can we have our $89 back? The fight was not up to par, basically. Now, I will say this. I did the Boxingego watch party, and I will honestly say the fight did not live up to the expectations. I think Jermell Charlo, he paid Canelo way too much respect throughout the promotion. And see, the only thing that's going to age bad for Charlo in this situation is the fact that when the fight was not a fight, Charlo was seen on the All Access, and he was like, I could beat him. And when he did an Instagram live, he was poolside in his backyard, and Jermell Charlo was basically saying that, man, Canelo, he looked weak versus John Ryder. He can't beat me with that ish. And then he went in there with Canelo and almost seemed starstruck and took a lopsided loss. Like, he lost virtually every minute of every round, and did very little with Canelo Alvarez. And I think people expected just overall more. I think, this is my honest opinion, the co-main event, I expected more. Erickson Lubin versus Jesus Ramos. When that fight was announced, I was very big on it. I told you guys that was part of the Ego banger alert, and I got that one wrong because as a fight, neither guy was really super impressive to me. I've seen them both in better form, and styles make fights. Erickson Lubin, he's been in far more fun fights and like fights that he won, some that he lost, like the Fondura fight. But nonetheless, I still, for me, I like Erickson Lubin versus Fondura in the loss better than Erickson Lubin in a victory, which is, to me, a bit controversial with Jesus Ramos. It just wasn't a fun fight. Same thing with Ramos. You look at Jesus Ramos versus Joey Spencer and some of his other performances, and they were far more dynamic, and he just looked better. He started giving up rounds. It just wasn't a great fight. Then you fast forward to the main event, and people expected so much from this fight. Now, I will say this, even though I was disappointed with the fight of Canelo Charlo, I wasn't as disappointed as a lot of people, and I'll explain why. The reason why I personally wasn't as disappointed as a lot of people is because my expectations were very low. Like, it's like watching a movie trailer. You ever see a movie trailer and the trailer, the way they edit it, they get a dope editor, they put dope music and sound effects, and the trailer looks all that. So you're hyped to see the movie. You're like, man, this new Fast and the Furious is gonna be dope, or this new Wompty movie is gonna be dope. And then you actually go see the movie and it does not, the storyline is weak and flat, the characters are bad, the acting's bad, whatever the case is in that particular movie, it doesn't live up to the excitement you've seen in that 30 or 60 second teaser trailer, right? Versus there's some movies where you haven't really heard much, you haven't seen much promotion from that movie, and maybe you were just browsing on Netflix, bored, you see an actor or actress that you recognize, and you say, this looks interesting. You read this synopsis and say, this looks interesting, let me give this a chance. And you give it a chance and you're like, holy ish, this is a dope movie. So for me, I love the second example where you're just browsing and you're pleasantly surprised with the movie. I don't like when you're watching a trailer and then you get all hyped up and then the movie doesn't deliver and is underwhelming. That's, to me, what Canelo Charlo was. Very underwhelming. But for me, I told you the outcome of the fight. I picked Canelo. I told you it was going to be a unanimous decision. And I told you that size matters, weight matters, whatever you want to call it. I didn't see Jermell Charlo moving up 14 pounds to do something with Canelo. I mean, Canelo's fought a bigger puncher in Triple G at 160, and he had 24 rounds with him. And then he later fought him at 68, which really wasn't his division. And he did get hurt in that fight, but you know, he didn't get knocked down in basically 36 rounds with Triple G. And Triple G has a great jab and he's a notorious puncher. So 36 rounds with, hey, no, guys, it's big dramas, punches, nothing, guys, Kazakhstan, you know, 36 rounds with him and you never drop. So in one fell swoop, is somebody really, truly, just think about, all you have to do is think about it, and then you'll see why me and Kamal Oz, Ego's Army, kept telling y'all how this fight would play out. It's very easy to see. Is a guy really in one fell swoop gonna move up 14 pounds and then beat Canelo Alvarez, who at the very least, I know people say Canelo ain't this and that, Canelo failed a drug test. Some of these things are true, but like the drug test, that's true. But at the end of the day, you can't take away that he has skills. He had more experience in the weight class. At the bare bones minimum, he definitely has a chin. I mean, if he didn't have a chin, he would have got knocked out already. You know what I'm saying? So you got to factor in everything when you're looking at boxing. So I didn't really see Jermell Charlo doing all this, moving up and dethroning Canelo, especially that Charlo, because he's a little bit smaller and he has less experience at the higher weight classes. You know what I mean? And that's why when it comes to like Cameron and Mase, I don't agree. I think they're a bit harsh, you know, and I don't always hear them talk boxing. So I think they violated a bit the way they went in. They just went all the way off, you know, this dude, blah, 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 Derek James is garbage and all this, which we'll get to in a second. So I think they did too much and violated. But at the end of the day, for Charlo, you can't really expect, because there's a lot of casual fans. And Canelo, anytime, you know, he's a big name in the sport of boxing. So if you're involved in a big fight and there's a lot of eyes and spotlight and limelight and it's a big spectacle and then you perform in that way, I mean, it's almost like, what do you expect? Especially since people know the Charlo brothers and the Lions only. That's why people are saying, like, where was the Lion? They were waiting for those moments, and Jermell Charlo kind of played it safe. You know what I mean? So you can't help but understand a bit of the criticism when you perform like that. He bit off more than he can chew. He got in there, felt Canelo's strength or skills or power, and, you know, kind of shelled up and really wasn't willing to engage or go out on his shield. And you just know in situations like that, I give him credit. Me personally, I give him credit. I think he showed heart because he could have just quit and packed it in, or you know what I mean, just stayed on the ground or something like that. So he definitely has heart, but just how it went, I think people just expected more. That's why guys like Cameron and everybody else going in so crazily on Jermell Charlo. I think his demeanor previous fights to his demeanor for Canelo was night and day. People expected the old Charlo cussing out Tony Harrison Charlo, but the whole buildup, he was super polite and respectful for Canelo. So I don't think that just fared well with his brand and what people know him for. You know, you kind of have to do what people know you for. Like imagine if DMX, rest in peace to X, one of my favorite artists, but imagine if he came out with an album where he wasn't as animated and barking and stuff, and he was rapping quietly. It's just, that's not what you're known for, you know what I mean? And I think people expected more of that lion Charlo that we've seen, the ferocity, and it just didn't really show up in the Canelo buildup and or the fight. Finally, Cam and Mase, I think they violated when they talked about Derrick James. They said he's garbage and how did he get trainer of the year? Listen, this is a brutal sport. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. Errol Spence lost to Terrence Crawford, a great fighter, and then Charlo moved up all his weight and lost to a great fighter. I think people are jumping out the window and over the top with it because I don't know if they watch boxing all the time. But to me, I think Errol Spence and Charlo, they kind of set themselves up before the fight even happened. You're going in there with great guys like Crawford and Canelo, and you're going in there adding on to the deficit because there's a chance that these guys could just beat you anyway based on being great fighters and elite fighters. But then to add insult to injury, in addition to that, you're on a long layoff, both Charlo and Errol Spence, and they both have recent injuries. So when you start stacking up all the disadvantages, plus you're fighting an elite fighter, usually it doesn't play out well. Charlo moving up 14 pounds, being on a 16, 18-month layoff, coming off of an injury with no tune-ups, no experience at 160, no experience at 68. Errol Spence recently detached retina, you know. Errol Spence having issues with his mouthpiece, and this is his first fight. He's trying a different mouthpiece and, you know, coming off of a long layoff of inactivity, and you fighting a guy like Bud Crawford, it's like you're almost asking for trouble. So more so than like Derrick James and the training methods and stuff, I don't think it was that. I think they were disadvantaged and they were almost down 2 rounds. Errol Spence also gave up a lot of ground to Terrence Crawford with coin flips, gave him more money, stayed in negotiations long. Crawford got a tune-up in December. He was out of the ring since Ugas. When you do all these things, it's just like good luck. Imagine playing Kobe Bryant or Steph Curry and you have 2 disadvantages against you. There's a chance you can't beat Kobe or Steph as is. But then when you start adding, like you rolled your ankle and you can't really move your mobility and you haven't played ball in 6 months or a year plus, I mean, the more you add to it, the worse it is. And that's kind of what we've seen in those 2 fights. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Best in the business. And it's not even close. And I'm out. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.